and you hear the sound coming from the darkness into the forest.
Oh, no.
At this point, instead of a shout, you hear a kind of a quick movement of feet. You begin to understand that this being as large of a troop, as large of a caravan as it was, that your brothers were here. That they had traveled out and come here to the caravan itself, and were here to thin the ranks. But because of that whistle call, you know for sure that it is your brothers,
Right.
that are here.
How far away from Ross's tent am I?
You're going to be about 90 yards from his tent.
Okay. Can I, stealth that way?
Yeah. So roll stealth.
Dadgum, dude.
You kind of gather your things, and you hear some of your arrows clink together, and you kind of stop. And one of your brothers kind of comes up and he says, "Oi, Tave. We came out to see you early. We thought we'd come through and thin the ranks a bit before they get to the ambush point. Huh? Want to help out?"
Yeah. I'll catch up to y'all in a second.
And so they kind of move past you. They've got their weapons drawn, and there's like tents and sleeping people all around, and they're kind of going around. And you see them kind of start to walk up to like people that are sleeping, and walk up and very very silently, very slowly walk up and start slitting people's throats.
I'm going to run as silently as I can to Ross's.
So it takes you a minute to get there. You hear the disgusting sounds of steel against flesh behind you, but you do eventually arrive at Ross's tent.
Okay, I'm just going to go in.
You see him and what would appear to be his wife, the elven woman, sleeping in their bed.
Okay, I'm going to walk up to him and put my hand on his shoulder and kind of shake him awake. And
so he wakes up with a start and looks at you and is confused and alarmed and a bit offended that you're in his tent. And says, "What is this? Why are you in here? You can't be in here."
We have no time for hurt feelings. There are people dying. There are people there are bandits here killing people. You have to get out now. You have to go around the forest now.
There are bandits here?
Shh.
He hops up, he yells at his wife, to get up. She wakes up and realizes the severity of the situation. Ross is no longer listening to you. He's yelling for everyone in the vicinity to wake up.
Right. Okay, so I'm running out of the tent.
Okay.
Back to my horse.
Okay. Yeah, by this point, the entire caravan is starting to wake up around you. You see, by the time you get back to your horse, you see that the area where your brothers had come in, that there's about 51 people, 50-ish people, that are all just lying bloody with their eyes open, and unmoving, like they're not waking up with the rest of the camp. Your brothers are all kind of you see a few of them kind of dash into the forest, but a few of them are further into the encampment, and so they're having to run a little bit further to get to the edge of the forest.
I'm gonna try to avoid them. I'd like to kind of stay on the side of the camp that Ross is on. I don't want them to see me, but I want to help them. I want to help get the troop moving, hopefully around the forest, not through it.
Roll stealth again. Okay. Yeah, your brothers don't see you. They're more preoccupied with getting out themselves and getting out alive. And the camp begins to wake up and begins to move around, and Ross has everybody moving with urgency to find the bandits that are in their midst, and people around where the slaughter basically happened are starting to wail in terror and in just despair at the loss of life, at the loss of their friends, at the loss of their own family. Kind of as you're witnessing everything that's happening around you, you look down and you see that one of the bodies lying underneath like a sheet that had been kind of kicked over it, smaller than the rest. And as somebody kind of uncovers it, you see that it's the little girl that had been following you the past 6 days. Her throat had been slit. Ross, after receiving reports that no one is around, that no bandits were around, he sees what happened, and he comes to you, and he's basically charging you, and he gets up into your face. You lied to me! You lied to all of us! Why?
I didn't lie to you. I told you to go around the forest. You didn't listen to me. You took your time when I told you to hurry, and now I'm leaving to catch the people that did this. So don't start blaming other people for your poor decisions. And then I'm still on horseback, and I'm just going to turn, and I'm going to go to where I saw the bandits leave.
Okay.
I'm basically hunting them down at this point.
Okay. Roll survival then, as you're kind of dashing through the forest. Ross calls out to you something, but you don't. It's kind of incomprehensible as you're riding away into the forest, into the night. Roll survival to track these guys. You gathered that there were probably about maybe 15 of them that came in and did this, but they scattered in all different directions. You catch up, and you see a small group of them running off, and you ride up to them, and they kind of slow down, and they say, "Tave, what are you doing? I thought you were staying. Are you not staying with the caravan?"
How many of them are here?
There's 4. You see that there are 4 that kind of stopped right here in this one little group.
Can I roll perception to see if there's any others around?
Mm-hmm. You hear a couple of others a little off in the distance in the forest, but they're running back towards where the encampment of the Brotherhood is, away from the caravan, to the northeast. Who
killed the little girl?
They kind of look at you take stock of you for a moment, and they kind of look at each other, and they start snickering, to each other, and one of them speaks up and says, "Which one?"
I'm gonna try to shoot him through his vocal cords.
Oh, okay.
I'll just pull out an arrow, just knock it immediately, and
go ahead and roll initiative then.
Nat 20.
Nice.
Would that be a surprise round?
Yeah. Bandit 3, the one that's labeled there, is the one that spoke up and said that.
Attack longbow.
Okay, that's a hit. Your arrow definitely connects. And he has enough time to say, "What are you," before trying to move out of the way just in time to get hit more in the chest than, not his neck, instead of his neck, where you had aimed the shot. And everybody at this point draws weapons. "What are you about, Tave? We're going to teach you a lesson. Daddy's not here to protect you."
See, I'm just going to shoot that same guy again.
Okay. All right, arrow connects. Roll damage. Your second arrow finds the mark that you were looking for, going through his neck. and a gurgle, and with his eyes still wide, he just kind of slumps to the ground.
Can I do my action surge?
Yep.
I'll just target Bandit 1
Okay.
with my long bow.
Kind of going into his chest, you hear a couple of ribs crack as the arrow pierces through his body, piercing his armor.
Then can I jump off my horse, put my bow up, and get my greatsword, or is that too much to do?
Let's see. You can put your bow up, but you can't pull out your greatsword just yet.
Okay, so I can put my bow up and hop off the horse.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what is your AC?
16.
All right. So all three of them advance on you whenever you hop down from your horse. The two that you didn't shoot with an arrow, one's got a scimitar, another one's got a short sword. Walk up to you, and one goes for a stab, another goes for a slash, and they both connect with you. The third missing. The first one doing 7 damage. The second one, you're able to dodge it a little bit, but you still take 3 damage from the stab wound.
I will pull out my greatsword.
Okay.
Or is Bandit 1 around me as well?
Yeah, they're all 3 around you. You're surrounded at this point.
I'll go ahead and take out Bandit 1. Greatsword.
Okay, you take out your greatsword, and as you pull it out, you go ahead and follow through with the swing. You land that swing. Go and roll damage. All right. So slicing through the neck of Bandit, what was it, 1? You completely decapitate him. Seeing you strike down another one of your own brothers, one of them again connects with you with his scimitar, slashing across the arm for 2 damage. The other misses.
Bandit number 2, swinging with my greatsword.
Okay. All right.
Poop.
So you take a swing with your greatsword. He parries your sword to the side pretty easily, and with the might of your swing, you kind of fall forward a little bit, and he follows through with it from his parry, tripping you, and you fall to the ground. And so they both try to take advantage of this as you're kind of lying on the ground. One of them stabbing you very hard. You took 8 damage from it.
Can I parry? Can I use one of my combat superiority dice? It says when another creature damages you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction and expend 1 superiority die to reduce the damage by the number you roll plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay. Yeah. So you can roll around. I would say damage you by the number you roll. Let's see, D8. I would say because you're on you're prone and on your face. I would say we can either half the roll or we can take away the bonus.
We can half the roll. That's fine.
All right, let's half the roll.
Half a D8.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 4 plus
4.
4. Okay. Okay, so you just completely parry his attack.
Sweet.
As you kind of, roll over and parry the first attack, the second one slashes you across the belly, giving you a nasty wound. You take 7 from it.
Okay. I guess I need to stand up. And then I'd like to use Second Wind.
Okay, so you heal 8.
8. Got 20 health. I'd like to swing at Bandit 2 with my greatsword. What the crap, dude?
So you swing through the air, and he ducks just in time to miss that swing. They take double swings at you again. You dodging the first one, the second one, though, connecting with your shoulder, taking 4 damage from it.
Swinging at number 2 again.
All right. That'll hit. Roll damage. Slashing across his front, losing a lot of blood, his clothes just torn open. He yells in pain. He kind of stumbles a little bit, staggers, but he regains his footing. So Bandit 4 that you didn't just nearly cut in twain, lands a nick of a cut on you with his scimitar. You take 2 damage from it.
One more time with Bandit 2.
Okay.
the heck?
Not being able to bend out of the way, he brings up his own short sword and connects with your great sword and like kind of deflects it a little bit, but deflects it in a way that Bandit 4 has enough time to take the butt of a scimitar and bash you in the back of the hand, and your great sword falls to the ground out of your hands.
Good.
Bandit 4, after hitting you in the back of the hand, disarming you, slashes you again with a scimitar. You take 4 damage from it.
Okay, I'd like to pull a dagger off of my hip.
Okay.
And stab Bandit 2 with it.
All right. You go for the quick stab, and he's just able to kind of dance out of the way just in time.
I was going to see if I could, like, kind of tumble out of the way and grab my sword as I, like,
I'll allow
roll.
It. You can do that. Try for it. Okay. So basically on success, then you'll successfully grab your sword and tumble out of the way and like an adjacent square to them. On failure, they are successful in their, or not successful, but they do get attacks of opportunity on you.
Okay.
Okay. As you kind of leap dive for the, dropping the dagger, I assume, grabbing a hold of the greatsword and rolling, out of the, hopefully out of danger, you feel a couple of blades, go over you and maybe even nick some of your clothing, but no damage comes to you. And you're back up and you've got your greatsword. The short sword bandit goes for a stab on you after missing the swipe as you stand back up, and it connects with your kind of chest leading into your shoulder. You take 4 damage.
Crap. I would like to swing with my greatsword at Bandit 2.
Okay.
Again.
All right, that'll hit. Okay, you bring down your greatsword, and the heaviness of the blade just connects with his forehead and slices directly into his head, splitting his head, not going all the way through, but just an explosion of gore from this. And as you relinquish your blade, the bandit with the short sword falls to the ground.
Okay, I would like to look at Bandit 4 with like the meanest, like blood splatterest face I can muster up and be like, if you don't want to die, make yourself useful and go tell my father he's dead to me.
Okay, roll intimidation.
Okay, it's +4. Nat 20.
Boom! He looks at the work that you've done on the heads of all your brothers, but him, and he looks at you and he says, "You're dead to us, Tave. Don't ever show your face here again." And he kind of says that as he's backing away from you, and as he says that and kind of looks at you a little longer, he turns off and runs off into the night.
And at that point, Tave would probably be like very just broken. I mean, his world is obviously like shattered right now.
Yeah.
The time with the boar would come back to mind when he was looking at all the corpses in the, in the party. Just the fact that, he just realized that these people were people, and probably nicer to him than most other people he's ever met in his life have ever been, and they didn't even know him. I mean, I don't think he really wanted to kill any of the bandits, but now it's kind of even, does he go back to the troop? I mean, because they don't want him there, and he just definitely not going back to the bandits. I think he would just go west. Okay.
Yeah.
So over Mount Hersher.
Maybe over Mount Hersher, but definitely that direction. All right, so I'm going to issue a long rest. You travel west. You run out of supplies, basically. You didn't really have many to begin with, but the plains that you're traveling across are giving you little food to survive with, and you realize that you need to stop somewhere. Mm-hmm. You come across a small town, small civilization by the name of Alsbin. and after spending a little bit of time there, you realize that they are in need of someone skilled in combat to take care of protecting the livestock against some wolves that have been kind of not terrorizing the town, but that have been coming in and at night, like killing and eating, sheep and other livestock, and it's killing their livelihood, right? And so you kind of offering, I can do this for you. I can, this is in my skill set. You not only take care of the wolves for them and protect the livestock, but you begin to teach the farmers and the other commoners how to protect themselves and their own property, so that you don't have to be the one that kills the wolves that come into town at night every time. That they can do it themselves now. The elders of Alsbin decide to offer you the responsibility of even policing the town. Taking care of. So you took care of those matters, and after gaining trust over the course of maybe several moon turns, maybe like six or seven moon turns, they give you this responsibility. Learning that they can trust you. You don't say a whole lot probably to anybody, but that's okay. Not everybody has to talk a whole lot. And you seem you're rough around the edges, but you seem fine enough. And so about 2 years go by, and you're taking care of disputes. It's mostly like political stuff. Somebody says that a particular bit of hay or some cabbage that they were growing, some kind of vegetable that they were growing in their garden, was grew from seeds that had blown over from the other side of the fence, and so now there's a dispute over whose cabbage this is. And so it's mostly like kind of small stuff, boring stuff that's not quite as exciting as ambushes or raids, but maybe you don't miss that lifestyle. Over the 2 years, you grew to know and love the people of Alsbin, and you didn't think you'd ever be able to adapt to a lifestyle outside the encampment of bandits and be a part of like a civilized society. Civilization was just like the social and political hierarchy of your upbringing, except without except in murders and thieves and brutal beatings. One day, after spending all day hashing out the disagreements of several different people, an ugly argument breaks out between a married couple that had been having relationship problems for quite some time. And this was not news to you or anybody else. The whole town could hear them screaming at each other, and so as you approach their house, it was clear that they were in need of your intervention to keep the peace. Mm-hmm. So after approaching their house, the man sees you coming up, and he turns on you, and he gets in your face, and he starts yelling at you to mind your own business, and that you need to leave, you need to go, that this is their business, and that you don't need to be there. And his wife tries pulling him away because he's yelling in the face of an authority figure, right? So she's trying to pull him away from you. And when she does that, he turns around and he punches her in the jaw, sending her spinning and falling to the ground.
Okay. Can I grab the back of his shirt and pull him back?
Yep.
Is that like a strength roll?
No, you just do it.
Okay.
You're stronger than this guy.
I just kind of pick him up, and I'll just throw him on the ground behind me, and go help his wife up.
Okay. When you do that, he jumps up. He says, "What are you doing? Don't you touch her!" And so he runs up and he just starts throwing fists at you. And his wife, as you're kind of what is this scrawny man doing?
Right.
His wife again tries to pull him back down, and he punches her again, on the other side of the jaw, and she just knocked out.
Okay, I just hit him, no weapons, or I just punch him.
Okay.
In the face.
Roll a strength attack then.
Just pick up the dice off of my strength. Strength.
Strength.
My strength. What is going on, man?
I don't know, dude. So you don't quite land a solid hit. You know, it's more of a glancing blow, and he keeps like throwing punches at you as well.
Okay.
He's not nearly as strong as you though, and definitely not trained in combat, obviously. And any punches that he lands on you just are ineffective. Like he bends his wrist into it, like he doesn't maintain a good punch. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not used to fight. He's not used to hitting somebody that's not his wife.
I just kind of push him away from me, and I say, if you don't stop hitting me and hitting this lady over here, we're gonna have problems.
You push him away, and he gets pushed away. But then he kind of bows up, and he starts coming back at you. And he's like, "We already got problems, mate."
Okay, so I'm just gonna tackle him.
Okay. Okay. So you just tackle him to the ground, and you're on top of him, and he's like, "Get off me!" And he's still just like trying to defiantly just throwing everything he can at you. Landing a square blow to your own jaw, kind of knocking your head back a little bit, giving you a couple of points of damage.
Okay, one more, final punch.
Okay.
Do I get advantage because I'm
on top of him? Yeah, roll it with advantage.
Give him the old strength.
Okay, so 5 damage. So you just throw your fist just directly straight down, connecting with his forehead, just poof, and kind of smashing his head between the ground and your fist. And so not only the force damage of the blunt damage of your fist on his forehead, but just the impact of being smushed between the ground and your fist. He just immediately unconscious. Like he probably has a concussion from you doing this. Like you're much bigger than him, and it was a well-placed punch. You see that a crowd had gathered and saw you punch this guy out with a single blow. And maybe this was the first time that you had ever used, not to say excessive force, but used some good force to. You definitely never knocked anybody out before.
Definitely on a person.
Right. In Allsman, yeah. To these people, doing it to a person was like, whoa. That's scary. That, because they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about, he could just up and do that to one of us. We bet. And so you see, this isn't a normal thing for them to see. It's a scary thing. They grew up in a nice neighborhood. And so kind of the next day, after witnessing almost everybody you encountered, just giving you a really wide berth, just, not disrespecting you, not throwing any jabs at you or anything like that, no disrespectful comments, but everybody just almost respectfully just keeping their distance and trying not to make eye contact with you and just staying out of your way. Trying not to cross paths with you. You now have a sense of kind of a feeling of this isn't where home is for you.
Either.
Right. and so you go to the elders and you let them know what happened, and you're upfront with them and you're honest, and so they respect your decision and they respect you, and they thank you for helping the town as much as they did, and one of them even says that they're kind of glad that you punched the guy out, that, somebody needed to do it for a while. But it doesn't necessarily make you feel any better about it.
Right.
After deciding to leave, you go over to the local tavern for a quick meal before packing up your things and heading out, not really knowing where you're headed, but the elders gave you a map of that they had of Nevin. While you're kind of sitting down and looking at the map and having your meal, you hear the tavern door open. You see a new face. You see someone that you haven't seen before. It's a woman wearing traveling leathers, but they look very nice. She's got a long cloak and a hood kind of coming up over her head. Silver hair kind of curtaining her face. A very smooth skin, She walks with a staff, but not like a walking stick. This particular staff has it's very embellished. It has almost a mystical look to it, something you've never seen before. You have the most magic that you probably would have seen would have been in the short time that you were with that that group of performers close to Morgoth. This woman walks over to where you're sitting and looks down at you, and you kind of stop eating and just look up at her, and she just kind of studies you for a moment, for a very brief moment before speaking, saying, "Maltavius Whitewind." Yes?
That's me.
Good. And so she sits down, like kind of uninvitedly, just across from you. She pulls out a book from her hip and starts flipping through it, and you see like parchments and letters kind of going through the pages, and she pulls out one and she hands it to you. Yep, that's it.
What is this?
Read it. It's a letter from my master, Nerian. The letter will explain all. Please be quick.
Maltavius, I pray this letter finds you well. My name is Nerian Vagros, and I'm writing you this letter from the desk of my master, Lord Verimore Dondurgan, in his humble tower located in Arcanium, Arcarium to the north. I apologize I could not deliver this letter in person, though then I suppose it would be a conversation. Hey, down to business, of course. My master has discovered a troubling truth about the nation of Nevin and its people are in grave danger. It's unsafe to cover the specifics in this manner, so please come to Lord Verimore's tower in Arcarium and ask for me so we may speak safely in person. I understand this is big to ask of you, but you have shown a love and compassion for the people of Nevin that this task of heroism calls for. You are destined for greatness. I hope to see you soon. Warmly, Nerion.
So after you finish reading the letter and kind of look back up at the woman, she says, "I must be away. What should I tell my master? Will you be there?"
Sure. Just as soon as possible, or?
Yes, immediately. Very good. And so she stands back up and she says, "Oh, where are my manners? Of course. I am Lamrara Kureshi. Good day." And she just very speedily and pointedly walks very quickly out of the tavern. On the road to Arcarium, then.
I guess so.
All right. Coming up onto the city, you hadn't heard anything about Arcarium before. As you're riding up to it, it looks incredible. The city itself seems to light up on its own with some kind of crazy magical light. There are buildings that, towers just shoot up into the sky, and it looks like a city of wonder, of true wonder, a city of majesty. You see, it's busy. It's daylight. Busy people walking through the streets. Most everyone wearing very nice clothing. A lot of people just kind of walking as they read books. Turning through the pages, and all kinds of shops and very fine looking inns that you're passing by, and restaurants and places to eat. Interestingly enough, you don't see a ton of blacksmiths that you're used to seeing. Mm-hmm. You're seeing a lot of different kinds of shops that you don't really recognize what their purpose is.
I guess I have to find Lord Verimore. I have to find his humble tower. wonder how humble it is. Do I see any like a place to get food, like an inn?
Yeah.
I'd like to go there, and I'll just go straight to the bar.
Okay. So yeah, you walk into a bar. It's not like the bar in Alsman. It's this one. The floor is not wooden; it's stonework, and kind of going up the bar itself is like a very smooth. It's a smoother kind of stone that you haven't seen before. Very very fine. I mean, there's woodwork, but it's very ornate woodwork going through. Everything's very very fancy, very high end. It's definitely not what you're used to seeing. Forests is what you're used to seeing.
Right.
A stout man walks from behind a few shelves. You see that he has very finely trimmed facial hair, kind of coming up into a very big mustache going across his face. He's got a big nose. Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Well, a few things. I'd like to get some food if you serve it, and some beer if you have any, and
Beer. How quaint. Of course. Do you eat, as he kind of looks you up and down, civilized food?
Yes, sure.
Good. Sometimes you never can tell. And you see him kind of rub his hand across like a back shelf, and you see like a kind of a dim light come up on the like this almost square that he waved his hand across, and like down below an ornate wooden just flap like kind of swings up, and like a steaming meal is passed forward. And so he passes this over to you on another entry, like wooden entry. He grabs a drink, and from the smell of it, you can smell it, and it's not the alcoholic drink that you're used to seeing and used to smelling. This is different kind of stuff. You'll forgive me that this is all we have. I'm sure it will be of adequate taste. And so he tells you how much it's going to be, and it is astronomically expensive.
Okay. I'll thank him for food and the drink, and
Of course. Just don't steal or touch anything. And so he starts to walk away after giving you your food.
I'll eat and drink, and if he comes back by, I'd like to stop him.
He doesn't, but you can call out to him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll kind of like wave him over after I finish my beer.
Yeah. So you call out to him. And he comes back out from around the shelf, and he says, "Yes, another drink, I presume."
Yes, please. Also, I was wondering if you knew where Lord Don Durrigan's tower was.
Lord Vermore? Yes, it's the big one up the hill.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And so he hands you your second drink, and he tells you how much it is, and it's still very freaking expensive. And as he hands you the second drink, and he says, "No more after this one. We don't overserve here."
All right. Well, thank you for the food and the information.
And so he kind of nods, and as he turns back around and goes behind the shelves where he's been, doing something, whatever it is.
Okay. I'll just finish the beer and leave.
Okay.
I don't belong here.
Okay, so you exit his tavern, and you look up the hill, kind of what the guy was referencing, and you see this massive, looming tower that just shoots up into the heavens. It's the biggest one in the entire city, and while it doesn't go like it doesn't have a huge diameter, it is definitely the tallest of all the towers and all the buildings in Arcaria. I mean, you assume that that's probably what he meant.
Then I guess I'm heading that way.
So as you approach Lord Verimore's tower, it's a heavy, tall, wooden, sturdy door, very ornate. A lot of flourishy designs going on, some metals.
I'll go back to the door of the tower and just knock on it, I guess.
Okay. So after you knock on the door, there's a voice that kind of comes out from almost from nowhere. It says, "Welcome. What is your destination?"
I'm Maltavius Whitewind. I was summoned by Nerian.
And so as soon as you say the word Nerian, you hear like a on the door, just a click.
Okay, I'll just try to push it open.
Okay, so you turn the handle and you're able to walk right in and shutting the door behind you. So you walk into this room and there's like these wooden tables set up and everything's got just the woodwork is just very clean and smooth and fine and it looks very it's got like a shiny finish on it and there's like a nice rug on the middle, chandelier kind of hanging from the top of the room with candles going on. It's got paintings all around the wall of just like landscapes. It almost looks like stock paintings. You're basically walked into a like a lawyer's foyer, a lawyer's office. Interestingly enough, you hear like a small bit of music. I remember hearing music growing up in the encampment. There were a few of your brothers that could play instruments, and you hear music kind of coming from almost nowhere, like the voice. And it's not unpleasant, but it's not pleasant either. It's just kind of
strange,
drolling, and then suddenly the room. It feels like you're moving, and everything in the room just kind of wobbles just slightly, and you definitely feel the almost the physical rush of movement, but you're not moving, right? And you hear like a low rumbling sound, and then after a short period of this, you kind of jerk to a sudden stop. But again, you haven't moved at all, and everything wobbles again. And that voice kind of comes in over the music, and it says, "You have arrived to Nerian's." And you see a door on the other side of the room.
Guess I'll go to the door.
Okay, so you walk up to the door. You hear a conversation happening on the other side, and as you walk up to the door, you hear it stop.
Okay, I'll just knock.
After the knock, you hear a voice on the other side, kind of dampened by the door. Yes, come in.
Then I walk in.
So you walk in, and so you in this room, it's while it's not a very big room. It almost kind of mirrors that of the tower, except room sized. While it's not a very expansive room, it shoots so far. The ceiling is so high, like it's stupid high. There's shelving built into the walls that goes all the way to the ceiling, and books just filling these shelves, going up to the ceiling. Like how? Why are there books way up there? And and on the ground there's tables set up all around, and there's parchments and books open everywhere. Like research work has been going on. There's alchemical equipment and supplies just everywhere. And there's a few things that are bubbling. Just a lot of just very studious kind of activity, work going on. In the middle of the room, you see a table, a long table lined up, 4 chairs on one side, closer to you, 1 chair on the other side. The man that addressed you, he's wearing robes. It's an older man. The robes that he's wearing, they look very comfortable, but they look just like everything else in the city, very expensive, very fine. He looks like even though he's wearing robes that look comfortable, that if he went to a rich guy's party, he would be, A-okay. He's got long gray hair and a gray beard, but his skin is very smooth and nice, well kept almost for somebody that seems to be as old as he appears. He says, you must be Maltavius. Come in. My name is Nerian. Thank you for answering my letter.
I'll nod or shake appropriately.
Welcome to Arcarium. I hope that Lamra was as gentle with you as she is with everyone else. Have a seat. There is much to discuss. And unfortunately, we are short on time.
And I'll sit down.
Okay. Nerian sits down. Now that the four of you are here, let me begin.